What's going on, everybody? Lil Chris here, and in today's video, I have two center table drills that I'd like you to try that'll help you improve your cue ball control at getting the cue ball back towards the middle of the table. Because most of the time, having the cue ball near the middle of the table is a very powerful position to be in, as you can pretty much pocket any ball from almost anywhere on the table. Now, this is something I had already done on a previous live stream, and if you'd like to see those live attempts, I will link the stream right over here. Now, the reason why I wanted to redo this is I wanted to try to go into more details that'll help you be more successful at completing the drill, as well as give you a better view to be able to see the drill better. And what view is that? Well, I wanted you to be able to see these drills from an aerial view. Now, first, let's talk about the setup. Hopefully you can see that I have 4 sets of 3 reinforcement labels on the table, where 6 of them are 1 diamond away from this side rail, and the other 6 are 1 diamond away from that side rail. Now, starting with the first pair, 1 diamond away from the short rails, where the balls are already placed, is for the first drill that I'm going to demonstrate. Moving 1 diamond closer to the middle of the table for the second pair is going to be for the second drill. And then moving 1 diamond closer to the center of the table again for the third pair is to mark the corners of the landing zone that your cue ball must land in after every shot. So if you fail to pocket a ball or get your cue ball to land back in the zone, then you must start the drill back over. Now for the first drill, we want to pocket each ball in any order, have the cue ball come off of the short rail, not touch another object ball or the side rails, and still land in the zone. Now, how are we supposed to hit the cue ball so that it hits the short rail after contacting the object ball and still land in the zone? Well, first, I think we need to understand the tangent line of each shot. So using the 1 ball as an example, we can see that this is the shot line of the 1 ball to its respective corner pocket. And then we can try to visualize the 90-degree tangent line the cue ball will take if it has no top spin or bottom spin. And we can see that the cue ball will head towards the short rail, towards the center diamond. And when we can see the angle of the cue ball coming into the rail, we can hopefully reflect that angle coming out, and we can see that we'll either contact the 2 ball or the side rail. And remember, we don't want to do that. So let me see if I can demonstrate that. So how are we supposed to do this? Well, we definitely don't want to apply bottom spin on the cue ball, as that's going to cause the cue ball to draw below the tangent line and contact the short rail later. And the outbound angle from that makes it almost impossible from contacting the short rail. So we're definitely going to want to use some amounts of topspin on each of these shots. So let me shoot the 1 ball again with just topspin, and let's see where the cue ball will land. Now, as you can see, I was able to land back in the zone, but I'm also at the edge of the zone. So what that tells us is that depending upon the angles of which you're shooting the balls in, you might also have to apply some side spin on the cue ball if you want to try to help guide the cue ball more towards the center of the zone. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this drill. I'm going to start with the 1 ball again, and based on what we learned from the previous shot, not only am I going to use topspin, I'm also going to use a little bit of right spin and help guide the cue ball land more towards the center of the zone. Okay, from here I'll go ahead and shoot the 2 ball, except I'm going to use left spin. And it looks like I barely stayed in the zone on that one. Let's go ahead and shoot the 3, back to using right spin. And when I shoot the 4, use a touch of left spin. And as long as the cue ball lands back in the zone, just leave it where it's at and set the balls back up for another round. So since I'm much closer to the 3 and the 4, I'm going to start with them. I'll go ahead and start with the 4 ball, top left spin. Let's switch on over to the 1 ball, top right. Back over to the 3 ball with top right. And then top left with the 2 ball. And there you go. So I can pretty much set up for another round, but I think you get the idea of this drill. So now let's go and set up for the next drill. Now for the second drill, I've moved the object balls 1 diamond closer to the middle of the table, and I've changed the starting position of the cue ball to either be half a diamond above or half a diamond below the center of the table, depending upon which side I want to start with. Because the object of this drill is to pocket the balls in any order again, but we want the cue ball to come off the side rail and then land back in the zone. So instead of using top spin like we did in the first drill, we want to use some amounts of bottom spin. Not so much because we want to try to draw the cue ball back into the zone, but we want to try to keep the cue ball as close to the tangent line as possible because the natural outbound angle from the side rail from the tangent line automatically brings us back into the zone. So let me show you what I mean. If we observe the shot line from the 1 ball to its respective corner pocket, we should be able to see that the 90-degree tangent line will bring us off to the side rail 1 diamond above the side pocket. And then we observe the angle coming into the side rail, we should be able to see that the natural outbound angle brings us right back into the zone, specifically into this corner of the zone, which can be relatively a small target. But what we should also see is even if we don't perfectly hit the cue ball along the tangent line and we strike above the tangent line, we should see that the inbound angle from here still gives us a natural outbound angle that brings us right back into the zone, but into a much wider area of the zone. So let me try to demonstrate that and see how close I can get the cue ball to come along the tangent line and see exactly where the cue ball could land in the zone. Now, I don't think I got the cue ball to follow the tangent line perfectly, but we can see that when I did hit above the tangent line spot on the rail, I still landed right back in the zone. So now let me try to go through this drill. And just like with the first drill, let's see how often I might have to apply some side spin depending upon where exactly I land in the zones. And then let's also see how often I might land flat on an object ball because I'll have to draw the cue ball perfectly back into the zone, which is okay to do. But we do want to try to use the side rails as much as possible. So I'm going to start with the 1 ball, and just like I demonstrated, I'm just going to use bottom spin. So it looks like I'm pretty flat on the 2 ball. So let's just draw the cue ball straight back into the zone. Now I have an angle on the 3, or I'm flat on the 4. Now I'd rather use the angle on the 3 to hopefully give me a similar angle on the 4. So now I'm back to using some bottom spin. And actually from this angle, I am going to apply a little bit of right spin to help the cue ball out. And now with this angle that I have on the 4 ball, I should be able to use just bottom spin. And just like before, as long as your cue ball lands back in the zone, we can set the balls up for another round. So now, because of where the cue ball's at, I'm going to start with the 3 ball. Here I can just use bottom spin. And where I landed on the 4 ball, I can also use just bottom spin. So here it looks like I have to use the 2 ball, and this angle is going to require me to use a little bit of left spin to help the cue ball out. And I also bring my tip closer to center, but I'm still using bottom spin. Now I think from this angle here, I'm going to use more bottom spin and just a touch of right spin. Oh, and just barely staying within the zone. And that's pretty much going to complete the drill. So I hope you were able to tell by the sound of some of the shots, there are times where you're going to have to hit the cue ball a little bit harder. And that's mostly going to be determined with how flat you actually get on the shot. And that's pretty much going to wrap things up for today's video. Now you might be wondering, how many rounds should you actually go through on each drill? Well, I would at least recommend 2, like I demonstrated, because I always like to say, first time lucky, second time okay, third time you might be getting it, and more times after that, then you really have it. So I hope everybody was able to find these drills useful and can help improve your game. So if you like what you saw here, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and then be sure to click the bell notification icon to be notified whenever I go live or publish a new video. Take care, everybody.